All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash. I'd also like to give double honors to my elders, bishops, and apostles of Great Millstone that do well. And I would like to say peace and salutations to the Lord's elect, to the hopeful elect in the 1/3. And Adawan Ratazah, this lesson will be edifying as well as, and most importantly, exhorting to the sincere sheep of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai B'Hashem Rachakwadash. And pretty much I just want to go into a quick lesson pertaining to Ephesians, the 6th chapter. Okay, put it on the armor. Okay, put it on the whole armor. All right, not the armor, the armor. Okay, and pretty much exhort you brothers and few sincere sisters, and tell you, hey, you're not crazy. Okay, I want to tell you, you're not crazy. Okay, and I want to tell you that this walk, it's about a psych out. All right, and when you think about major wars and victories, the victor, they usually win by playing a mind game with their opponent. Okay, so you can't let Satan get in your head, even though that's where he's going to attack. All right, don't let Satan get in your head, even though that's where he's going to attack. All right, and let's go into it. This is Ephesians 6:10. Finally, my brethren. Okay, listen to this, man. All right, when you want answers, when you want certain answers, it's right here in the scriptures. That's why you got to pray. You got to pray to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai to guide you, guide your feet, guide your mouth, guide your spirit to what is needed to help you in your in particular walk. Okay, all right, you're not going crazy, man. Okay, you're not going crazy. This whole walk, and Satan's trying to do is psych you out, man. It reminds me of this video game, Metal Gear Solid. And I think the game was Sons of Liberty. I could be wrong. It's a Google. But in the video game, when you're getting close to beating the game, the game programmers, they actually made the game to act like it was messing up and telling you you're going the wrong way. And, and you just had to keep going through it, not knowing that was how you completed the mission. Okay, this is why it says we walk by faith, not by sight. All right, this is the most important milk you have to understand is, walking by faith and not by just sight. All right, because this whole thing's about a psych out. All right, this is Ephesians 6:10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord. Okay, so you have to be strong and trusting in Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. Not doubting, not wavering. Those are spirit killers. Those are banging at your crown, man. Okay, those are demons banging at your crown, trying to knock it off, trying to take it from you. It's like the game Kill the Carrier. Whoever's got the ball, that's what the game's called. Okay, So it says, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Yahweh, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. So, there's going to be situations. Let's actually see what a translation. Be able to stand against the wiles. Right here, look at the devil's schemes. Okay, so having Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, walking in the spirit, allows you to not fall victim to the schemes. Like, what do they call it? 3-card Monty. Those are scams, man. So Satan is a scammer. Okay, he's a scammer. He's trying to scam you. And I'm speaking from experience, man. It says a righteous man falleth. There's things where Satan will make you believe something that ain't true. This is why people out in the world, man, they bug out, because they're believing the schemes. They're believing the scams. They're believing the lies. You can't fall victim to that. This is why you hear our elders speak about, this truth will drive you to the brink of insanity. But that's Satan trying to sift you, okay? He's trying to sift you, man. So whatever he's lying to you about, whatever he's trying to tell you in your ear, hey, man, don't believe that shit, man, okay? Don't believe it. It says the wiles of the devil, the schemes of the devil, the treachery of the devil, the lies of the devil. It says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Yeah, man. Look, but against principalities. I'll show you what this word principality means. Let's go right here. Principalities. Let's see. Rulers, flesh and blood. Well, I'll go into it. It goes into spirits. Okay, that's why the name is so important. All right. Let me go down. Mind you, I'm just out for a walk right now. It's the sun's down, so just checking my surroundings, just getting some fresh air too. Look at this. Demons. Okay. All right, demons, man. All right, it's real out here. And these people got principalities on them. They got demons on them. So you got to be extra mindful, Even myself, this is why you always got to pray. Okay, I'm not trying to be too loud, cause a scene. But I'm walking, it's a walk and talk, But look, it says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against demons. All right, so you could be sitting there at the so-called dinner table, and out of nowhere, here comes Satan. But see, we're able to understand that. That's what the blessing is. That's what I want to tap into right there. It's not the necessary fact that we have to battle. It's the fact that you know that you're in a battle. Do you understand how important that is? Other people don't know, or I can identify a demon or demonic thought, and then they act it out. Okay, they act it out in forms of adultery, murder, whatever. Okay, or demonic attacks, demonic possession. All right, they're not examining themselves. They're reprobate. They're not even trying to fight against it. They're just believing that that's who they are. See? All right, it's a psych out. That's exactly what Satan wants to do, which reminds me of Agent Smith. And I think the third Matrix, which I really only like the first one, but hey, my personal opinion doesn't matter for edification, But and Agent Smith, what he was doing was going around and basically manipulating everybody and overtaking them. Okay, so you don't want Agent Smith to overtake you. What the young lad say in the first Matrix, there is no spoon. So you can't allow Satan to make you think that there's a spoon that you can't bend. Okay, you can't fall victim to that. Like I said, I'm speaking from my own personal walk. You hear brothers speaking, and that's what I want to say. The scriptures say in Peter's that the things that you're going through already accomplished within the brothers. So whatever you're dealing with, you have to put in your mind that another brother has already defeated this. Okay, and this is not what's going to take you out. You have to understand that. You have to think like that. Okay, you have to believe that. Okay, and it says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, which we read that word, which it goes into demons, and it says against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. Yeah, man. All right, there's real darkness ruling this world right now. There's a real satanic vibration, agenda, okay, rituals. It's really wicked out here, man. That's why you got to be careful what you're indulging in, who you're even around, the things you like. Certain things you could like could be youthful lust, man. It is youthful lust. Certain things you could like could be from the old man. And you got to man, I got to stop that shit, man. And the fact that you have the ability to have the chance to stop it speaks volumes to where we're at in this walk. It means you're still able to repent, which means you still have a chance, which means you still can be a hopeful elect. See? And that's what I'm trying to get to. That's what I'm trying to bring out in this lesson is it's not necessarily the fight. It's the fact that you're in a fight. Not everyone even knows they're in a fight. Not even people know they need a fight. It says against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. All right. And this is why the name is so important, because when demons get thrown at you, okay, temptations, any form of these wickedness in high places, you got to understand that is mercy, that the Lord is not allowing us to be overtaken. The scriptures speak about, I will give them to a strong delusion. You know how scary that is? Just think about the spiritual battles that you have had and have overcame, and then think about how that the Lord allowed you to overcome that. That's mercy, man. And that keeps you fearful, because it's like, wow, if I was fighting that, what about people that aren't even able to fight, man? They can't even put up a fight. It says, wherefore take unto you the whole armor of Yahweh, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. I'm reading I'm sorry, I'm walking and talking, and it's nighttime. My apologies. Oh, here we go. I got some light. It says, wherefore take unto you the whole armor of Yahweh, that ye may be able to withstand the evil day, and having done all to stand. See? So you got to do everything spiritually in your power when temptation, lust, Satan, all these things are coming about, that's when you have to fight, man. And that's why it says in Luke, Satan left for a season. Let me grab that real quick. Let's go right here. Let's go to Luke. I'm gonna stand right here. I got some light. Luke, I want to say it's 4:13, and this is very powerful because this is the account of when Satan was trying to tempt Yahweh, man. Luke 4:13, it says, and the devil, Satan, had ended all the temptation, and he departed from him for a season. Let's actually go into this word season, because one thing that I noticed is, the battle will happen unexpectedly. It'll happen unexpectedly, just like a thief coming in the night. Let me see right here. Season, in due measure, opportune or seasonable time, a period of time. Look, the right time. Okay, he departed for a season. All right, so you'll have moments in this walk that are going to be difficult than others. You can have a year in this walk compared to another year is completely different. This is why it says the outward man perish, the inward man is renewed day by day. All right, you're not going crazy. It's a psych out. It's Satan. Okay, this is why you got to trust in the Lord, man. It's so real. You can't even trust your own thoughts sometimes. Okay, let me say that again, man. This thing's so real that you can't even trust your own thoughts sometimes. This is why you have to be sober-minded, because you could be like somebody in the world that's got demons on them. They trust that their mind said, Kill someone. Okay, take this man's woman. That's a demon. Try to holler at her, lust over. That's a demon. Okay, that's what demons are here to do. That's what Satan's trying to do. Out of all these people in the world, these people, man, the Lord don't want these people. They're already taken. They ain't the chosen. They ain't the elect. They ain't the predestinated. It says, having done all, it says, verse 14, stand therefore having your loins girt about with truth. So you gotta really, really, really lock the F in, man. You gotta lock the FUCK in. All right. And you know how you do that? By not giving in to that battle that's going on in the brain of yours, man. Okay. You have to understand that you're going to go through things in this walk that you don't want to go through. And it's just like an athlete. If you're walking around, and I'm telling you from experience, if you're walking around thinking that when this referee blows that whistle and this game starts, this game of life, this game of truth, and you think that you ain't gonna never miss a shot or a layup, hey, you already setting yourself up right there. Okay, so this is why it says a righteous man falleth 7 times but getteth up. Okay, I'm just speaking on an exhortational manner. All right, just how I've experienced Satan or demons operate, and at times falling and at other times standing. Okay, at other times standing. All right, and if it's a beautiful thing to resist the devil, man. I felt it. I feel it. When you resist, when you truly resist, because he'll say something to make that sounds believable. That's why people are proud. You'll see someone, I'll whoop his ass in the ring. He proud. His out of shape, overweight ass can't do nothing, but they got demons on him. They ain't humble. Okay? Let's keep going, man. It's a beautiful walk that we're in. And why? Because we understand why things happen. And even the things we don't understand, we still understand. Whew. And it says, and having on the breastplate of righteousness. So at all times, you're carrying, conducting yourself as a moral man. It says Jacob was a plain man dwelling in the tents, which when you go into it, plain meaning righteous and tent meaning tabernacle of Yahweh. So he had the breastplate of the priesthood. You got to keep that breastplate of the priesthood in the spirit, man. Because this flesh wants to kill you. This flesh wants to kill you, man. Okay? This flesh wants to overindulge. It wants to oversex. It wants overdrive. This flesh don't care that you got to work in the morning. This flesh don't care that you don't want to drink. This flesh don't care that you don't want to look at a woman. This flesh don't care about you, man. All right? This flesh don't care about you. This flesh does not care about you. And you need to understand that. And it says, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace, above all taking the shield of faith. So one of the most important pieces of the armor is faith. So let's talk about that real quick, okay? I want to speak about this real quick. It says, above all, taking the shield of faith. That means no matter what, the most important piece, if you had to grab first, is faith. Because the faith is what's going to keep you no matter what. Even if, well, what if he cuts my head off? Well, you got the shield of faith. You have faith. Faith trumps everything, okay? Faith trumps everything, man. And you have to understand that, okay? And faith is a spiritual power that you're not going to realize how powerful it is until you're put in a situation where the only thing you have left is faith. Okay, let that sink in, and then you understand how powerful faith is, and then you understand how it's a gift, and then you're thankful for that gift, and then you're thankful that because of grace you are saved, man. Okay, so, whoo, you know, it says, wherewith ye shall be able to quench the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation, the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Yahweh. See, and that word is what's cutting down the psych out. You know, the word is what's cutting down Satan. Okay, the lies, the deceptions. Okay, the word is what's keeping us, and the word became flesh. You know, and it says, which is the word of Yahweh, praying always with all prayer and supplication in spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. Yeah, we pray for one another, you know, hoping the best for one another. You know, certain things happen, and you know, you'll feel in the spirit like, man, Baba Kasha, help that brother, help their family, protect them. You know, it says, and for me the utterance may be given unto me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel. Man, so there it is. That's a beautiful letter to receive, you know, especially if you're in a situation where you know, Satan's trying to overthrow you. You know, this is why you want to stay near to lessons. You could have a demon make you not want to watch lessons, not want to read, not want to, you know, be in the spirit, you know. And this is the time where they're going to use certain things that you may have dealt with maybe in the first year, or maybe not at all. This is why what Morpheus, what Neil say, upgrades. Okay, so the Satan and the demons, all right, even though that they're sent by Yahweh Shemal Shai, read the book of Job, but let me say this, Satan is not your friend. Satan is not your friend. Okay, Satan and this flesh are not your friend. Satan and this flesh are not your friend, and you better remember that. Okay, and remember, the Lord won't give you nothing you can't handle, but you gotta constantly show your due diligence. Okay, and you gotta rely on the Lord. You gotta rely on the Lord in this walk, man. You gotta rely on the name. Okay, so I just wanted to do that lesson. Okay, I believe the point was made. I pray the point was made, and I pray to Yahweh Shemal Shai that this was an exhorting lesson, and it goes to who it needs to go to, because these are now modern day epistles. You know, our channels, going to camp and teaching, starting with our elders and apostles. You know, we're sending out letters. So the Spirit is inspiring us to make these certain letters for who it needs to go to. And you know, another thing too, we go through certain things, you know, for not only for our learning, but to strengthen, when we get converted, to strengthen our brethren. You know, so we go through things so that we're able to exhort the brother and sister out there, the brothers and sisters out there too. You know, so just be mindful, man. Watch this flesh. Watch the tactics of Satan. You know, carry and conduct yourself with wisdom, meekness. You know, be holy. You know, anything that's got you contrite, pray to the Lord. Cut it out. Ask the Lord to guide you, man. Okay, so I pray that this lesson was edifying. I just want to say, call halal. Abanawa Yahweh Bashem El Shai Bashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to my elders, bishops, and apostles of Great Millstone that do group well. Peace and salutations to the Lord's elect. With that being said, shalom.